Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It is fantastic to have you here because it is minus 17 degrees Celsius. It's zero. It's real cold. And we got some work to do on this ZWEIHANDER. We're joined by the lovely little Yogo. She's having a nice time. Hey, how you doing, Yogo? And inside the shop we have the forge getting very nice and toasty, and we are ready to put our final weld in the fire. You remember where we left off on the last episode? Will had to spend the whole day TIG welding this thing together. He's just grinding off some of the excess weld material. Then it's forge weld time. He is running a 36 grit Cubitron 984F belt. And so of course a big thank you is owed to you guys for supporting us by buying our abrasives and our medical supplies. Be sure to check them out at the end of the video in the link below. Those Cubitrons are an unbelievable belt. We're thrilled with them. And so be sure to check them out. Let's get right in to some forging.
So as you guys saw, I just ground off the scale from this, and the reason for that is because we welded all of these tiles together, which means there's 36 welds, so there's 36 places that we need to grind out. Hot diggity dang. So you can see the light lines that run up this blade, and we just basically need to go back in with an angle grinder, zip those puppies out.
Okie dokie folks, as you know, we are not without problems. This sword needs to be this long. We're missing a whole lot of material. Right now it is 9.7 millimeters thick, which is about 3/8 of an inch or so, which is incredibly thin. It's about the right size to start grinding on a sword, so you've got plenty of material to work with. And we're already there, and we are by no means anywhere near the size that we need to be.
So, we do have a couple options. We can weld extra edge bars onto the side, which is probably the best option. The problem that we have is that we use literally the last of our Damascus stock on this billet to make up the last little couple pieces that we use to slap on a little extra width to it. So
we're out of materials.
Yeah.
So we can't add on a whole lot of material to it.
We're up Forge Weld Creek without a paddle.
We could try forging in the serrations of the ZWEIHANDER, and that would give us a little extra length. The trouble with forging them in and getting it to look very, very neat is getting it to look very, very neat when you're forging it in is difficult. Because as we forge in all of this, the sizes of everything is constantly changing, and you gotta flatten it back down, things stretch out. It's possible, theoretically, it would take some experimentation with tooling to get to the point that we could accurately forge this out. Not throwing that completely as a no, it's an option. We just might need to like try it out. We're never gonna finish this ZWEIHANDER.
Oh no.
So yeah, we're in a real pickle here because we do not have the material that we would like for the way that we'd like to make this. Wow. Imagine if we hadn't added more material.
A ZWEIHANDER fit for Alec's nasal passages. Child size.
Alrighty folks, we have put some serious thought into this. We have thought about all of our options. We've gone as far as thinking about forging in the little sinusoidal intestinal elements, about forging in our bevels to get this thing stretched out, but we have decided that there is no way. One, we have the time to be able to make the tooling to make that happen. Two, we've made enough failures as it stands that we're gonna be making 1 billion more failures if we do it that way. I don't have a third one, but what I do have is the solution that Will and I have finally come up with. It is to make use of the fact that the only part of the blade that is actually visibly seen is this part of the blade, which is exactly how much material we already have. And so there is nothing stopping us from forging this part of the blade and the tang from completely non-Damascus steel. The plan is as follows.
The plan is to take the steel that we already have, to forge a tang down onto it, to then cut out this kind of crucifixy shape from the 1075 plate. We're going to cut out 2 of them, forge weld them together, and fit it up so that we have enough material to forge ourselves this big long ricasso, as well as the whole rest of the tang out of that singular piece of steel. That's going to be a super, super strong weld. It's got a lot more surface area than the rest of the welds that are holding this piece together, so I think it'll be pretty good. And this was Alec's idea in case it fails.
What are you talking about? That was your idea in case it fails. It's my idea in case it was a success. So here's the plan. I'm gonna forge the tang down on the piece of steel. Will is gonna forge the little crucifix section out of 2 pieces of 1075. We're gonna forge weld them together and hopefully soon have a ZWEIHANDER.
Okay, we got this cooled down. It's time to now fit these 2 pieces together and then forge weld them. Okay, got this thing bit up and TIG welded together. I'm gonna throw it in the fire and then I'm gonna hit it here, here on either end of the lugs, and down here, and then a couple hits on the sides. And hopefully that'll be enough to stick it all together on the inside and just get ourselves a really clean, strong weld.
looks amazing.
Isn't that looking good?
Yes.
Ooh.
So what are you doing now?
I'm letting it soak now at welding temperature.
You're just letting it stay hot.
Exactly, and so what that does is basically, as we know, steel has a crystalline grain structure. And so when you leave it hot for a long time, the crystals get really big, and since this is now one piece of steel, growing those crystals to be really big helps strengthen it.
It does?
Cross-boundary grain growth.
I never knew that. I hope it works. So am I right in understanding that means it is now time to forge a blade?
That,
Or are you gonna grind out like TIG welds and stuff first?
I'm gonna grind out a little bit of TIG welds first,
And then it's blade forging
then it's
time.
blade forging time.
Amazing. Woo! No, not Will. I miss out on all of it. Woo! So I'm gonna miss out on all the blade forging. Will's gonna have all the fun doing some awesome forging because I am going to Canada to visit our good friend Ethan Harty, who is the very same Ethan Harty that makes our beautiful square circle rounding hammers. He's working on some hammers right now. I'm gonna go and visit him, say hey, and I'm gonna be bringing you guys along, so stay tuned for some snippets of that content. As we end the video, I wanna talk about our self-save kit from Prometheus Medical that we are now selling on our website. Link is down below. The contents of this kit are all here to help keep you alive in time for an ambulance to arrive. When you're in the workshop, you're exposed to so many risks, and it is all too easy for an accident to be so bad that you or a loved one or a colleague could be dead before an ambulance arrives. This here is all about stopping bleeding and keeping some of those really time-sensitive, life-threatening injuries under control in time for professionals to come and deal with you. Inside, we have the soft T tourniquet to help control the bleeding on extremities, which means you can control the bleeding if, say, an angle grinder hits your femoral artery and opens it up. It's got chest seals for helping control and mitigate a tension pneumothorax if you have a puncture wound in a chest cavity. It's got chita gauze for helping control bleeding in junctional areas. All sorts more goodies, such as a burn dressing, which is incredibly useful in the blacksmith shop. The bag has magnets on the back as well as a buckle, so it means you can keep it handy wherever is most useful for you. And so please go to the link in the description below, because the first 50 of you that purchase a self-save kit and use code STOPTHEBLEED, all one word, at checkout, are going to be getting 10% off the kit as well as free US shipping. Thank you guys. Please make sure you have medical equipment accessible in the workshop. Thank you so much for watching this video and listening to me ramble on through. It's been a pleasure as always. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.